What is going on, guys? Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon. We are going to come in with another episode of the podcast, and a quick one too. So if you're coming into this one live, guys, you know the drill. Get down into the comments, say hi, happy start to the weekend. I hope everything is swimming along nicely for your weekend, team. We're going to start this episode in just a touch over 90 seconds and be ready to rock and roll. Happy weekend, brothers and sisters. We are coming to you live from Texas, Houston, Texas, down here for a coaching conference, which is really, really cool. I'm going to tell you a bit more about that in the episode, and then we're going to get straight to business. So if you do end up watching this one on replay, you know the drill. Hashtag replay in the comments, and we can take it from there. So 30 seconds, guys. We're going to kick this one off, and then we will be ready to rock and roll. So a little bit out of schedule with this podcast episode, but that's cool bananas. I want to share with you just a couple of points that I think would help. Hey, good morning, Ange. I hope you're well, babe. Hope you had a fantastic time on your cruise. So what we're going to do here is bring in our Instagram audience, and then we're going to rock and roll and kick this thing off. So let's go, guys. On the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to the Better Body Academy podcast. This is the podcast that you come to when you are sick of the dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. We're coming to you live here from an apartment, a very small apartment in Houston, Texas, where we started off this morning training in North America's biggest gym. If you have been to this gym called Alpha Land, you would understand the gravity. This is a gym with a fucking car park that's 15 times bigger than most gyms themselves. It's 2 full gyms, one kind of indoor, one kind of outdoor. There's a CrossFit section, there's 2 basketball courts, there's a sled room, there's a circuit room. This gym is incredible. And so if you're ever in Texas just randomly, or you're ever in Houston specifically, you want to get along to Alpha Land. But the main reason that we're actually here is for a personal trainer fitness coaching conference. We believe that it's super fucking important that we continue to level up our own skill set. And there's 2 things that I want to talk about in this podcast, because I think that people listening to this podcast are likely doing or not doing one of these 2 things, and it's the reason you're struggling to get results. So what I want you to do is put your hand up, give me a secret head nod if you feel that I'm frustrated. I either started this program or a program, and I'm just not getting the results that I want. Everything still feels very forced, and for whatever reason, it's not translating to results on the scales. So if you feel that, I want you to give me a little head nod, a little nod of acknowledgement. So let me tell you about the conference that we are in here, and the 2 reflections that I've had from today, and why they are absolutely relevant to you. Why are you not getting results? Because the truth is, the same things that apply in business, the same things apply in family, in relationships, in making money, and into your health and fitness. Generally speaking, how you do one thing determines how you do everything in life. It looks to me that if you cut corners in certain areas of your life, it shows up in other areas of your life. So these are mindsets and behaviors that we've got to fix. So let's start with number 1. Okay, what is the main thing that I think that people are doing wrong? And if you're inside Better Body Academy, I want you to ask yourself an additional question in just a moment. The first thing that most people do wrong is they don't ask for help. Now, that might sound a little bit cliche, but what I mean by not asking for help, we all want to be self-made, right? We want to build our own career and be stoked that we built the business. We want to build our own family, and we want to be stoked that we did the parenting job. It wasn't the school, we did the parenting job, right? We all want to make our money and then claim it. But the problem is that if you look at successful people, almost no one is self-made. And the reason is that to be completely self-made is actually like it just doesn't actually happen. So it's a fake thing anyway. But secondly, it's just the stupidest way to operate. And the reason it's the stupidest way to operate is because you're taking the longest road to get there. So why would you want to be in a community or get, so specifically, this is the key point that I want to make. If you're trying to do this on your own, if you're trying to get fit and lose body fat on your own, my guess is that you probably don't have a plan. So what that means is you're kind of guessing, trying to figure out the plan as you go. And the problem with that is that when you're figuring out the plan as you go, you're making lots of mistakes, and those mistakes are fucking with your head. Those mistakes that you're making are giving you all this self-doubt and lack of self-belief. Would you agree? Every time you fall off the horse, it feels like, oh, I tried again and it didn't work. Oh, here's another thing that I tried and I didn't work. And you're starting to learn that when I do things on my own and try, I fail. And so I really do think that for me, the number one determinant of success is the people that you surround yourself with. Now, I'm going to say the reason I'm bringing this to your attention is because I'm no different, okay? The reason that I'm lucky enough to have been successful as a coach is because about 5 years into my journey, I realized I needed a coach of my own. And so I spent every fucking last dollar that I had on getting a coach to tell me what to do so I didn't have to guess anymore. But that's only part of it. It's not just getting a plan, it's making sure that you have some accountability. Because let's face it, if you're watching this live stream, if you're listening to this podcast on replay, I'm guessing that you know a little bit about calories. You know that, okay, I probably need to eat less calories. I probably need to not eat so much shit, right? I'm guessing you probably know you need to exercise a little bit more. I'm guessing you know you probably need to work on your mindset. You know all these things, but you're not doing them. And the reason that you're not doing them is because you've got so many different things competing for your attention. Let me know in the comments if you are a father or a mother. If you're a dad or a mum, you're fucking pulled 17 ways trying to be everything for everyone else. You're pulled by your kids, you're pulled by your family, you're pulled by teachers, you're pulled by your employees, by your boss. And so your attention is constantly being competed for, which basically means for most people that they end up, their fitness falls to the bottom of the pile because it appears to be the least urgent thing. Would you agree? So let's start with acknowledging that doing things on your own is fucking hard. It's hard because you're relying on your own willpower to create leverage. You're requiring your own willpower to motivate yourself, which is good when you feel motivated, but at least 50% of the time, you're going to feel completely unmotivated and completely shit. And when that happens, you're on your own. So the biggest point that I want to raise is you need to get inside a community. And if you're not inside a community and you don't have someone to hold you accountable, and guess what? That might not be the Better Body Academy. It might not be our program. It might be just having a group of really tight friends in a WhatsApp group or someone you meet at the gym or any way this can happen. But someone to check in on you and make sure that you're being held to a higher standard than you will hold yourself to. Someone that's asking you, like, are you actually making progress? Are you sticking to the plan? Because left to our own devices, we tend to just gradually fall away as things get a little bit hard and as the pain just wears off a bit. Would you agree? So this is takeaway number one. If you're not getting results, I want to ask you, have you got some level of accountability and community? Because when I wake up in the morning and I see all of my clients firing themselves up, journaling into our Facebook groups, that gets me fired up. I'm meant to be the coach. But when I see 100 of our clients posting into our Facebook group, that gets me psyched up because then I feel, hey, I can't slacken. How can I slacken when my coaches are doing the right thing? If you're inside of Better Body Academy already, well, my question's going to be to you, are you showing up into the Facebook group? Are you using the Facebook group like a journal? Don't think to yourself, I've just got to post on Facebook. I'm not really a Facebook No, this is your journal. And it's far easier that you journal into something that you can recall over and over again when you're struggling for motivation. So that's number one. That's the number one thing that you're likely not doing. Number two thing that you're likely not doing is this. You are not fucking consistent because you pay too much attention to how you feel. Right? Now, sometimes it requires someone pointing this out to you. I want you to ask yourself genuinely, are you a conditional person? Are you a conditional man? Or are you a conditional woman? Or are you unconditional? Let me ask you more clearly what I mean here. Do you only do the hard things when you feel like it? Or do you do the hard things every day regardless of how you feel? Now, let's make a key point here, right? There is a huge difference, team, between doing things perfectly and taking messy action. There's a big difference between being consistent and showing up and not showing up at all. It is a pipe dream. If you're a parent or you run a business or you work 12 hours a day, it is a pipe dream for you to think that you're going to be able to train with 100% intensity, eat perfectly, have a fucking amazing mindset every single day. And so here's probably what happens. You have an expectation that you should be able to do that. And so because you have the expectation and you generally set the expectation about how you're going to perform, you set that when you're at your most motivated, right? You feel really motivated and you say, I'm going to train 5 days this week, 100%, and I'm going to be perfect with my macros. I'm going to do this. You set the standards here, and then what happens is fucking life happens. So you set the best of intentions when you're feeling most motivated, but then what happens is life happens, and as soon as you set the intention, your kid starts crying, or you got to pick them up from daycare, or there's a school project that you got to help them finish, or any number of interruptions. And when that happens, you can't meet the expectation that you set yourself. So as opposed to saying, hey, listen, a 1 out of 10 would be good here, I'm just going to try to show up as best I can. Instead, what happens is you get caught in your own head and you say, I'm just not going to show up at all. Guys, and good morning, Karen. Let me tell you something, right? Parenting is fucking hard. I think parenting is the hardest job on the planet. Let me know if you agree with me. Do you agree with me? Like, if you're a parent, it's the hardest job on the planet because you're constantly asking yourself, am I good enough to do this? Am I doing the right thing? Am I showing up for my kids enough? It's the hardest job on the planet. The second hardest job on the planet is running a business. Running a business because, generally speaking, it requires a consistency that not many people have. The reason not many people have it is because they don't have any accountability, and to try to hold yourself accountable is very fucking hard. One of the reflections that I've had is that why I've become successful by my own standards in the coaching space is not because of my amazing content. It's not because of my sexy good looks. It's because I'm fucking consistent. I'm absolutely consistent. Constantly. If you look back over the amount of social media posts that I've done, there's close to 3,000 posts on Instagram, and I've only got 20,000 followers. Most people who've got 3,000 posts on Instagram have 500,000 followers. But even despite the difficult times, I just continue to fucking show up. Go over my Facebook, and since I've become a coach probably 5 years ago, I've posted at least every second day, if not every day. Here's the thing. Even when you're not the best at something, if you just show up every fucking day in the best version of yourself that you can for that day, the algorithm of life will eventually reward you. So if you think about social media as algorithm based, there's a consistency element, there's a quantity element, and there's a quality element. And the more that you post, the more you get seen. Well, your life is exactly the same. If you continue to show up from a quantity perspective as best you can, and then over time you get to work on the quality component, getting better at showing up, getting a little bit more consistent with your tracking, getting a little bit higher steps each day, becoming a little bit better in the gym, tweaking your mindset just that little bit more, quitting that little bit less. Over time, the quality will improve, but if the consistency is not there, you got fucking nothing. And so don't fucking complain when the scales don't change, when you're still in the same place, when you you turn up and complain about your results. Nothing fucking changes if you don't have consistency. And I'm not saying this to be rude. I'm saying this because it's what you need to hear. So many people, they follow a meal plan for 2 fucking weeks and then step on the scales and go, why haven't I lost 5 kilos yet? If you want to look at our best clients inside our academy, you got guys like Kevin and Terry and Nick that have lost 30 plus kilos. You've got guys like Chris Lupton who's lost 50 kilos. And then you go over to the girls' side and you got a collection of ladies like Xanth who's lost 10 kilos, or Linda 10 kilos, or Coach Erin 15 kilos. This has happened because they were unconditional. They just kept showing up. And again, you don't need to be perfect in showing up. Perfect is a fucking pipe dream. It's great to have aspirations about being perfect, guys, but the number one mindset that kills people on their fitness journey is the black and white mindset. I did either good, and if I didn't do good, I'm shit and I might as well just give up. This is the mindset that kills everyone. Everyone. You're not a perfect husband or wife. You're not a perfect father. You're not a perfect mother. You're not perfect employee. You're not a perfect boss. Why do you continue to berate yourself when you're not perfect in your fitness journey? You're going to be doing this for the rest of your life. So if you don't imagine tracking macros for every single day of your life for the rest of your life, guess what? You might as well start failing now. But showing up, that's the difference. Did you show up? So guys, to wind out this podcast, and it's coming off the back of just a couple of realizations that I wanted to come in and share today, is that number one, if you're not consistent, you can't complain about your results, because consistency is everything. And over the long term, even if your quality is low, if your consistency is high, you will get results. Number one. Number two is if you're trying to do it yourself, you're relying on your own motivation. And guess what? That's going to be really, really hard. If you're not inside Better Body Academy, what are you doing? We've got a community here of close to 200 men and 200 women that are supporting the Christ out of each other. Now, if you're inside Better Body Academy and somehow you've managed to capture this podcast and you're not the type of person that's engaging in the process, you got to understand that it's not about Facebook. It's about coming in and journaling so that you have some level of accountability. You are being accountable in order to create a reciprocal accountability back to you. I hope this has helped, guys. This has been the Better Body Academy podcast, and I'll see you on the next episode. Peace out and have a beautiful weekend.